Hey, it's the nerdy sports fan. We're giving out draft grades now that the draft is over and we're into the AFC West. We've already taken care of the Raiders and the Chiefs, so let's get into these Denver Broncos. So, with their first selection, they land Jerry Jeudy. Now, personally, I felt like Jerry Jeudy should have been the first wide receiver selected, mostly because of scheme fit with the Raiders. But he's available here, and Henry Ruggs isn't. So, whereas Ruggs probably would have been the better play for the Broncos specifically, you cannot pass up on a talent like Jeudy when he falls into your lap. This man is the best route runner to come out of college ball. I think in the entire time that I have been grading draftable players. So I really, really like Jeudy. And it's going to be up to Pat Shurmur to figure out how to use him. Considering Shurmur's offense is tight end and three wide, there's definitely a plug-and-play position here for really both of the receivers taken, because here in the second round, you end up getting KJ Hamler, and that fills the role of what I felt you were going to have Ruggs for. So you get your speed demon guy who takes the top off of a defense. You have a route runner who's going to be able to find the soft spots throughout the interior of a defense. I think Jeudy fits naturally as a fantastic slot receiver. That's where he did his most damage out of Alabama. And you already have Courtland Sutton there. So these two receivers complement what you already have in Courtland Sutton extremely, extremely well. Now, I was a bit down on this draft when it first happened because I didn't necessarily see addressing the need of the offensive line as well as I would have liked. But after taking some time to mull it over, the interior of the offensive line was certainly addressed, especially at your next pick in Lloyd Cushenberry. Now, the Falcons screwed the pooch by getting not even the fourth best center a few picks earlier. So Mr. Cushenberry, who's one of the best centers in college football, falls into your lap. And this is a guy filling a position that you've needed to get somebody in. When Matt Paradis left town, he left a gaping hole that you didn't fill last year. So Lloyd Cushenberry is going to be an immediate starter on this offensive line and a big upgrade. Getting a young center paired with a young quarterback is a great thing for a team in general. These guys developing over time together, it is one of, if not the most important relationships between players in football. So a great job of getting a great young center to pair with your young quarterback. So beyond that, we have McTelvin Agim. I thought that there were better defensive tackles available at that position. So I'm not so high on that pick. It's kind of a whatever thing for me. Michael Ojemudia at corner is solid at the position you selected him at. A lot of people had him higher on the board than this position. A lot of people had him lower on the board than this position. So striking it right in the middle here is, I think, good value at a position you really needed to fill. So corner could have been addressed earlier. Offensive tackle could have been addressed at an earlier point, but you were not going to fill all the holes, as well as make progress to compete with the Chiefs and the Raiders. So they leaned towards compete over filling all the holes. So I can understand that. Albert O, I really love. I love Albert O at the tight end position. I actually thought he was the best tight end prospect coming out this year. None of the more polished players really were standouts. So why not get the guy who's just the absolute best athlete at the position, who also happens to have rapport with your quarterback since they went to the same school? I think it's a great, great fit for this team. And with the speed you now have at wide receiver and the tight end position, considering you drafted Noah Fant last year, this is ridiculous. This is very obviously a very similar move to what Elway did a few years ago. His team got the crap kicked out of them in the Super Bowl by a better team that was built defense first. So what did he do in the offseason? He went out and built a bully of a defense. The same kind of defense that beat the crap out of his team. And it worked. They won the Super Bowl. So what's the team you can't get past right now? It's the Chiefs. All right, and they're the Super Bowl champions. And how did they do it? Team speed on offense that nobody else could frickin' deal with. So in just this draft, Elway has created that same kind of team speed. It remains to be seen if these players are going to be as effective, and especially considering they're all young, they're likely not going to be as effective as what happened with the Chiefs last year. Don't get your hopes up to that point, but the needle is pointing in that direction for certain. Further on in the draft, Stenard is a whatever thing, but I really do like Natan Muti, the guard. Guard is a position that you can easily fill in these middle rounds. The 4th and 5th round, you tend to get a lot of interior offensive line talent in these rounds. And I think that Nuti, especially on this offensive line, which was pretty crap, is going to be a factor. At the very least, he's going to be a depth guard who will likely see time, because offensive line always gets injuries at some point, and your second and third guards will see the field. So he's going to be effective at the very least, making sure your depth is solid. So when you get those injuries, you don't have a huge drop-off. So would I have loved to see the Broncos address their tackle position? Absolutely. Garrett Bowles is a train wreck. Holding every 5 plays is insane. So you can't continue to have that negative play on the offensive line. It will stop your track meet before it starts. So team speed is one thing. Team speed that actually gets a chance to run down the field is another. Garrett Bowles will be the thorn in the side of this offense until they replace him. So I don't understand why they didn't replace him in this draft. At multiple points they could have. You could have skipped on the Hamler pick, gotten yourself a tackle like Josh Jones, and gotten a speedy receiver further down the board. There's plenty of receivers available in this draft. There's plenty of 4-3 speed guys that you could have developed. So I like the players that they got, though. I really like the players that they got. You couldn't have filled every single hole. There was too many on this roster. But this is a great step in the right direction to compete with the team that's owning this division right now. So I give this draft an A. Is it perfect? No. Is it great? Yes. So tell me what you guys think. Let me know in the comments what you're excited for coming out of this draft as Broncos fans. Check out the other videos I have to see what I think about the other teams in the league and what they were able to achieve in the draft. Give me a like and subscribe if you enjoy the content. That's always appreciated. And hit me up on Patreon coming up. I normally devote all of my content to fantasy football during the season. I dominate fantasy football leagues. So if you need somebody to help you set your draft board or set your lineup on a week-to-week basis, I'm your guy. Thanks for watching, guys.